shoes and custom insoles on the top of your list. Nothing's worse than sore feet during harvest. Stop in and check out our vast selection of styles and colors. You'll be surprised. 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing shoes for ultimate durability.
They'll have you laughing right along with them. They're Bonnie and Friends.
Tom's used to that.
Yes, I'm used to all kinds of stuff with you.
He sits next to me in the news center.
Oh, my goodness.
We're next to you.
Hey, I've been in this business for a while.
Right.
Never have I ever come across anyone like Bonnie.
Thank you very much.
Never.
Finally.
He probably goes home every night. Patty, you're not going to believe what she said or what she did today. I'm not like the rest of them, Tom.
No, I know.
No, you're just a whole different breed.
That's right.
Thank you.
Bonnie and Friends. Catch them weekday mornings beginning at 5.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. I want to thank you for joining us. Alongside with me is our wonderful, talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. We gave Justin the day off. He's got a sick little boy at home, so he's taking care of Sterling.
That's a priority, man. We got to say,
Absolutely.
Justin, go do that. Meanwhile, Dean, I'm feeling a little feverish. I don't know if I'll make it the whole hour.
See, I was kidding with Justin because I asked him, what are you guys doing over the weekend? He said, well, we're going out to the lake. I'm like, yeah, sure, your kid's sick. Yeah, yeah. You had a long weekend at the lake and you didn't feel like coming into work. That's what.
Let's not call him out like that.
All right.
Yet.
Yet.
We'll ask him that tomorrow.
Right. So, how was your weekend? A nice long holiday weekend. The weather was absolutely beautiful if you like the summer heat.
Hey, that was hot. Who are we talking about? And it's currently, I'm out by Bismarck. It's 58 degrees.
It is, Bridgette. This is what we call weather whiplash. I mean, it goes from one extreme to the other. We're a good 30 to 35 degrees cooler right now than we were at the same time yesterday. So, I mean, this is a big, big difference. Now, we did have a nice area of rain which fell across parts of the state, generally stretching from about Bismarck up through Grand Forks and into northwest Minnesota, were many areas 1 to 3 inches of rain. Now, what does that do to the wheat harvest?
Well, it's going to slow them up.
Okay.
And actually, I saw some custom combining crews just a few minutes ago. And this is going to kind of keep people from progressing as quickly as they wanted to. There were a lot of folks that really pushed it as hard and fast as they could on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in order to get that combining done before rain came in. And here's the thing. You can go when the ground is fit. You don't want to combine wheat when the moisture's too high because it's unfit to store at that point. And so even though you're trying to push hard for it, if the crop's not ready, well, you just can't go. Now, as you mentioned, with all that rainfall, we have a really nice canola crop across the northern half of the state of North Dakota. Mm-hmm. And it's time to start combining that canola. Yes, many areas got 2 inches of rain. I did see some pretty significant wind gusts overnight as well. Hopefully that did not wreck any of the canola or cause it to start shelling out, et cetera.
Yeah, there were areas up around Grand Forks towards Warren, Minnesota that got, it was about 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts up there. So
yep,
that'll do some damage.
Where I was at in Bismarck, I saw 60 on the west side of Mandan, and I heard, but of course this is just somebody said, that it might have been in that 85-mile-an-hour range around Washburn. So for listeners who got rainfall, who had some of that heavy wind, feel free to let us know. You can reach us on the Red Wing Shoe phone line at 701-293-9000. And
yet there's some of us that didn't get much.
Where's my rain, Dean?
Yeah. We only picked up 0.03 of an inch here at the studios, and now we're just kind of socked in the clouds, drizzle, fog. I mean, it's just what a difference a day makes. So hopefully you got out. Those will be the last 90s of the year. I think we'll still squeak a few 80s out, but we'll have more on the forecast in just a bit, but I'm afraid to take this call. But it is Tuesday, and, well, we all know who usually calls in on Tuesday, and John's on line one. John, how was your holiday weekend?
Hot. Very hot. Where's my rain, Dean?
Well,
Where's
I mowed my
rain,
lawn last night,
Dean?
Dean. Yeah, I mowed my lawn last night, Dean.
Okay,
Waiting
and
for the rain that was supposed to come, Dean.
well,
Just saying.
I mean, there was 0.03 of an inch. That's some. You didn't ask how much.
That doesn't qualify for squat, there, young man. Just saying.
Well, what's your small squirrel or pine nuts or whatever other freaky way you have to predict the weather? What's it saying?
You know, I'm still waiting for my replacement pine nuts that Bridgette had the FBI take away as part of the witness protection program she's in.
I think I know where they are. They're probably somewhere close to my pig out in the soybean field.
Well, you know, that pig has been out there so long, he should be able to be spotted from the air by now.
he's gained some ground in his weight.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, you leave a pig in the middle of a soybean field, what do you think the pig is going to do? You know, I mean.
Because I know the answer, John. He becomes bacon. That's what he's going to do, and I'm looking forward to that.
Well, John, what's that?
There's a bacon party in our future.
There you go. Hopefully.
There you go.
We could use that. John, thanks for calling in, and we appreciate you calling and listening as well. Let's run down the forecast real quick here because we do have, a little bit of rain for John. Not a lot. There's some rain out to the west. Generally, let's say Devil's Lake Basin, down south towards Bismarck area. A lot of it is kind of drizzle, but some lighter rain and embedded thunder showers in Devil's Lake Basin. That's the area of upper level low pressure moving eastward. Now, in Lakes Country and just east of Lakes Country, let's say from Fergus eastward, some showers and thunderstorms continue to develop. Some of those could be on the strong side as we head into the afternoon. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Here in the FM area and up and down the valley, I think we'll see some light rain. Keyword there is light rain will overspread the area from west to east after about 3-4 o'clock and last through about 9 o'clock tonight. Behind that is we're going to continue with the windy conditions. Winds right now out of the north at about 35 miles an hour, and temperatures only in the low 60s, and as Bridgette was saying, 50s right now out to our west. And we'll see skies go partly cloudy late tonight. We're going to drop off into the 40s overnight tonight, and then as we head into tomorrow, we're going to see more sunshine, but it's going to be smoke-filled sunshine. And then some of that smoke's going to be pretty thick, especially in the morning. With highs tomorrow only around 70, still breezy conditions. And then we'll slowly warm things up into the low 80s as we head into the end of the week before cooler weather punches in here over the weekend. But still not bad. 70s over the weekend, maybe a little light rain on Saturday. Not a lot of rain in the forecast, at least for the FM area and points southward, Bridgette. But as I said last night, quite a bit in the central and northern part of the state and into northwest Minnesota. What I am seeing in all of our long-term models is our first frost of the season. We're starting to see that, and it's coming about the normal time of the year. We're looking between the 16th and the 20th. We're going to get a pretty good punch of chilly air coming in from Canada. So at least it does show frost potential. Now, whether we see that or not, we'll see how it pans out. But all of our long-term models are kind of pointing to that 16th to 20th time frame for our first frost of the year. And that's about normal for this time of the year.
Okay, I have some questions.
Oh, boy.
You might as well.
I knew you'd be mad once I used the F word.
That isn't even the F word we're getting to yet. So this is what I would tell you is I have a bunch of things I've been thinking about over here. One is with this big switch in rainfall going from the 90s that we were in over the weekend to 58 degrees right now. Is that fairly normal for September? Number one. Two, I do agree with you. I think that frost in the mid of September is not a surprise. What we don't know yet is it going to be 25 degrees? Is it going to be 30 degrees? Is it going to be 20 minutes? Is it going to be 4 days? So is it a detriment to the crop yet? Not sure. As soon as you can answer that for me, I'll tell you.
Well, I'll give you a short answer. Does it look long-term? Probably not. It's a kind of transitionary punch of cold air. But could in terms of how long it will last, in terms of just an hour or so, or is this going to be an all-night thing? A little too early to tell on that, but just kind of put that 16th to 20th on your calendar, and that looks. Now, is it normal to go from 90s to 50s like we just did? This is a pretty fast transitioning month, and I've seen it before. In fact, this was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago down in the Central Plains, and it was almost to the date. A strong cold front came blasting south out of Canada, 90s ahead of the front. Behind the front, and I believe it was western Nebraska, western Kansas, where they had 90s, the 80s and 90s the day before, they had snow that following day. So it can happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not often, but yeah, it definitely can happen. That's for sure. So, we're coming up on break here, so we'll take care of business there, and when we come back, Bridgette, we're gonna have to hit some ag topics because we do not have a guest today.
We don't, but Dean, it's headlines for ag. It's weather stuff that people have questions about. Big Iron is next week. You never know when I'm going to toss you a piece of trivia that you weren't expecting. I mean,
love it.
It's a bit of a free-for-all on a Tuesday, but I have no doubt this is going to be wildly entertaining until we get to the top of the 2 o'clock hour. So don't go anywhere, folks. Stick with us. You'll enjoy it.
Livestock is mostly higher. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risvet with this market update. With box beef prices considerably higher today, the live cattle contracts have unanimously agreed that the market's direction should be higher early this week. The market settled into a mostly sideways trading range last week as cash cattle prices traded steady to $3 lower across both regions. Traders are seeing today's stronger beef prices as an excellent support signal, but still, again, look to the market's cash cattle trade for direction later this week. No bids or asking prices are available at this point, and trade isn't expected to develop until tomorrow or later. New show lists appear to be mixed, higher in Texas, somewhat lower in Nebraska and Colorado, and lower in Kansas. Last week, northern dress cattle traded from $288 to $295, but mostly at $290, which is $3 lower than the previous week. Southern live cattle traded at mostly $178 to $179, which is mostly steady to $1 lower. Box beef prices are higher. Choice up $342 and select up $192 with a movement of 45 loads. Now, the lean hog complex is again rallying as traders note the continued support of consumers in pork cutout values. The cash market is still only being vaguely participated in, but maybe later this week the market will see a little more support. Carcass prices are heavily influenced today by the $17.83 jump in the belly, but the rib was also up $5.10 and the ham up $3.59. We'll get a look at the livestock numbers. This is the American Ag Network.
In today's troubled world, our USA Armed Forces stand ready to protect you, your family, and our American way of life. When veterans return to civilian life, they deserve your recognition and support. You can help put vets to work by donating your car, truck, or van to Patriotic Hearts. Your donation will directly support programs to help vets find jobs or even start their own business. Donate today for fast, free pickup of your vehicle, running or not. Operators are standing by to answer questions about making a tax-deductible vehicle donation. Find out how you can make a difference in the life of a United States veteran. Call 800-209-6416 for 24-hour response. Call 800-209-6416. 800-209-6416. That's 800-209-6416.
Let's get a look at the livestock numbers. Live cattle, October up a nickel at 180.20, December up 22 at 184.40, February up 35 at 188.67, and the April live cattle, they're up 30 at 192.67. Feeders, September down 30 at 251.55, October up a nickel at 254.70. Lean hogs, October up 32 at 83.37, December up 80 at 75.40, and the February lean hogs, they're up 27 at 79.30. With crude oil trading up about $1.50 at just over $87 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risvet.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
So glad you are here. Welcome to WDAY's Weather and Ag in Focus. You get to hang out with me, Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, and Dean Wysocki, Chief Meteorologist. That is such a good good sound for you, Dean. I appreciate that.
You bet.
Okay, now for folks, we are so rapidly approaching the end of our Here We Grow project because it won't be too long now, and we're getting ready to harvest. I think that's probably the most exciting thing that we could be doing. Now, thank you to Titan Machinery for all the work that they have done on this project as a sponsor. You know, I don't know that they're going to send over a bright, shiny new combine for us to run for like the 20 minutes it'll take to combine our soybeans, Dean, but maybe we should start asking for that now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just in case.
No doubt. Now, kind of going back for people that don't know, and this would include myself partially. So let's assume that we do get a pretty widespread frost. Let's say again, right around the 17th, 18th of this month. Is that going to affect yield in which would it affect more, the soybeans or the corn, in terms of yield production? Okay,
so as far as and make sure I heard you. You said if we got a late season frost right now, which one would it affect? Which would negatively impact yield?
Exactly.
Right now?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay. I think as far as frost is concerned, especially if we're looking down, a couple weeks out or 10 days out, right now this rain will help some late planted soybean fields. In that respect, for corn, it may fill the cob, all the kernels all the way to the end if they weren't there. Is it going to increase our bushels or our yield by 20%? No, you'll probably pick up single-digit increases on your yield, so every little bit could help. If we were getting rainfall, as far as the frost is concerned, I don't think this will be a deterrent because just so much of our crop has already been made.
Okay.
We've dealt with frost before. That hasn't been the end of the world for this point. And I know we have some late planted corn where we'd like to keep our fingers crossed we don't get a frost until into October, so it gets further along.
Right.
But the majority of the crop is probably made.
Okay, great. Well, we have Mike on line one. I think Mike has a question for you, Bridgette. Go ahead, Mike. Thank you for calling us.
Yeah, I'm enjoying your show.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, what's the difference between silage and hay? Is one better? Are they both used for feed, or do you actually sell silage, or do you store it in the grain bins? Or I never really knew. I mean, are they both feeds, hay and silage?
Okay, let's start with that, Mike, and we'll try to break those down as to what they are. So, silage is a specific type of corn. We chop that like this time of the year where it's slightly greener. In fact, there's lots of custom silage crews that are out right now that they're chopping it. Those are generally, when you chop your silage, it's generally stored in a bunker or on the ground so that you're making literally a big hill of silage corn, and it ferments a little bit on itself, so it's sort of self-sealing. You'll have some farmers that take a plastic tarp and cover it, like they cover sugar beet piles, and then uncover it as they need it. And then that silage is sort of a sweeter, more favorite taste that cows like. And they really like the sweet, the cobs and so forth. But they'll even eat the stalks. That's more of a filler to fill their bellies. Like I'm not supposed to eat cookies to fill my belly, but a cow will eat corn stalks, okay? All right, so then hay, if you think about a hay crop, that's probably like an alfalfa, a short, bushy, green crop. When you make your hay, you'd go out and either mow it or swath it into long windrows or rows down the field, and then roll that up into a hay bale, a round or a square, and then that hay you would feed as well. With silage, you can mix that into a ration for the animal, or you could just feed it straight out in a bunk. Oh, go ahead.
Which is more expensive to buy?
It sort of depends on the year. If I were to take a guess, this is just my completely uneducated guess here, I would say hay is more expensive this year because we had areas that are typically bigger hay-producing parts of the Dakotas that were dry and didn't produce as much of a hay crop, where they probably have a little better corn crop. Now, western South Dakota and parts of western North Dakota got a lot of rain this year, and they have a good hay crop. And if you're a producer, a farmer, a livestock producer, when you can make hay, you make as much as you can, and then you don't always have to feed it all in 1 year. You can store it for a year or two. Some of the quality goes down a little bit, but it's still an edible product that you could feed to livestock.
Can they both be stored in silos?
So the silage stores in piles. The hay bales also get stored in stacks.
Okay.
I don't recall putting silage in our silo as a kid. And even when I think about producers who use a silo right now, they're putting the corn kernels in there. They're not doing the whole plant, but they're putting in kernels that probably have a higher moisture content. They're a little wetter than if you were putting them in a grain bin or hauling them to the elevator. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
You are so welcome.
Like the show.
So that was a great question.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mike.
That was a good question.
Yes.
So you can store hay up to, what'd you say, 1 or 2 years?
You can keep it. I've seen hay piles last longer, but I think most folks are like, if I haven't used that in 1 or 2 years, on the third year, I better make sure I use it. And you would feed what you have as like your older hay first before you probably start using the newer stuff. It's like rotating your inventory, right? Making sure you have the freshest. But and straw bales can stay for quite a while because that's just like after you've taken your wheat crop off and those dry stems, they can be shot out the back of the combine. They can be baled, and you can use that for bedding for your animals in the winter months.
Interesting.
That'd be a little different.
And I would think with the hot and dry weather, I'd be curious to see how much of our hay is being shipped south, like down into Texas, Oklahoma, where they've just been extremely hot and extremely dry down there. I bet western North Dakota has shipped a fair amount because they had a more abundant hay crop than we did. I can tell you on the flip side of that, I think it was 2017, we were pretty dry, and I passed hay truck after hay truck. They were hauling from the south, bringing it up here. An interesting note, that's how we get different weeds here, too. Things that are a weed in another state often come up here on hay. They blow off the hay bales into our ditches or into our fields, or we feed them to livestock, who then we spread the manure on the field, and that's one way that we can move around some of our weed seeds. Yeah. Yeah, so it's been kind of neat. Nice. And just to let everybody know, too, we will be out. We're going to make our next Here We Grow video this Thursday. We'll be out in our field to kind of get, I'm guessing this will be our final look before we start to harvest, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty close.
Yeah,
because we're almost there. You and I are going to talk about a new term for you called senescing.
Senescing?
Would you like that as your homework for Thursday, or should I tell you so you can come fully prepared?
How do you spell it?
S-E-N and essing. So if senescence in soybeans essentially means that they are at maturity and they are now turning for harvest, right? They're leaving that green vegetative state to a yellow, and then they'll dry down to a brown before they get combined. But we're going to look at we're going to estimate, how much of our field is turning, where is the senescing taking place, and that can be caused not just by it's that time of the year for that crop to mature, but it also can be caused by the fact that it got dry, and maybe that crop doesn't have as much moisture as it needs, and it just decides, I'm done. I'm ready to be combined now.
Okay. And Jim thought we were going to be pretty close to 50. Did he not when we had him on a couple weeks ago? I thought he said somewhere around there.
I think he felt closer to 50. I think I'm at 42. You're at 50. Justin's at 65, and we've got lots of great guesses on our Facebook page. So if you have not yet had a chance to go to our Weather and Ag Facebook page and put your guess in for our contest, you certainly should. You can drive by the field, make your estimate. You may be the lucky winner of a Productive Alternatives rain gauge. These are super nice rain gauges that we'll be handing one out to the winner who gets the closest or spot on, but not over our bushels. That'll be awesome to see. And part of those bushels are probably there because of Invita, which is a nitrogen sourcing product that can be used by soybeans and other crops. Ours was provided by AB Seeds in Averill, Minnesota. That's on our beans, and might just make the big difference for us, Dean. Maybe we really are going to hit that huge bushel.
We'll see. I'm looking forward to getting out there on Thursday and seeing how it's coming along, because it won't be long before we might get back out there during harvest, hopefully. Right along with Jim.
Ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Next week with Big Iron is going to get a lot of full and crazy. There's a lot going on, which we'll have to talk about here coming up. But if we can get out there so we can be in the combine or in the trucks going to the elevator, I think that'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
During harvest.
That'd be great.
Yes.
So let's talk. We're coming up on break again here. So how about we hit on some ag topics? Let's talk a little bit about Big Iron next week as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think we should, because we got some fun things going on for us at Big Iron. We'd love to see all of you joining us there.
Absolutely. So we'll have more on that and hit on some more ag topics. If you have any questions for us, feel free to give us a call, 701-293-9000. Again, that's our Red Wing Shoes hotline, 701-293-9000. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Oil and natural gas create opportunities for North Dakota. In fact, nearly 50,000 North Dakotans have good-paying jobs thanks to the oil and natural gas industry. Real people finding prosperity in their careers and bringing it home for their families and communities. It's one of the many ways oil and natural gas are making life better in North Dakota for generations. North Dakota's oil and natural gas, advancing the possibilities.
Pucklet Chevrolet GMC believes you deserve a reliable pre-owned vehicle that fits your needs and budget. Car Bravo at Pucklet Chevrolet GMC gives you an expansive inventory of Car Bravo certified GM and non-GM used vehicles. Confidence and peace of mind come standard, as every Car Bravo certified vehicle includes a 126-point inspection and a 6-month or 6,000-mile warranty. Choice, confidence, peace of mind. Feel the used euphoria at PuckletValleyCity.com, North Dakota's Car Bravo headquarters.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is considering calling state lawmakers back for a special session over the state's updated school use of force legislation. The new wording severely restricts the ability of school resource officers or school staff to restrain students. Walz says lawmakers are in talks with law enforcement to resolve the issue in the hopes of avoiding a special session. A Moorhead house was heavily damaged by fire early Monday morning. The fire at 1522 4th Avenue North was reported just after 4 a.m. Flames were shooting from the roof when firefighters arrived. They managed to knock down the flames, but the roof collapsed. The planned implosion of the Lashkowitz high-rise building in downtown Fargo has been delayed. The 22-story apartment building has been an iconic part of the Fargo skyline for a long time, but the building has been sitting vacant and was initially slated for demolition on September 9th. However, contractors say minor logistical challenges have resulted in the date of the implosion being pushed back to September 16th. And a recent study ranks North Dakota as the hardest working state in the U.S. The study was conducted by the personal finance website WalletHub. It ranked all 50 states by using 10 factors ranging from number of workers with multiple jobs to average workweek hours. Tom Tucker, WDAY, and WDAYRadioNow.com.
Attention all growers and ag retailers. Tired of losing the war against wild oats? It's time to bring in the big guns. Avadex and Fargo herbicides from Gowan USA. These Group 15 herbicides are your ticket to controlling Group 1 and Group 2 resistant wild oats and suppressing brome and ryegrass. Don't let these weeds invade your field. Take charge. Contact your local ag retailer today and get your hands on Avadex and Fargo. Go. Always read and follow label directions from Gowan USA.
Empower You for Women. North Dakota Farmers Union will launch Empower You on September 30th at the historic schoolhouse in Nome, North Dakota. The year-long Women in Leadership program will be facilitated by me, Heather McDougall, a national speaker, entrepreneur, and filmmaker. Experience the power of a dream come alive. The program consists of the kickoff event in Nome, 6 Zoom sessions throughout the year, and fun meetup group events across the state. It's open to anyone for just $30. To learn more and register, go to ndfu.org.
Our pets love us, from the moment they meet us until the day they leave us. Homeless animals deserve the same long, love-filled lives. Be an animal's hero and join Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue's foster team today. Everything you need is provided. Go to turtlemountainanimalrescue.org. Choose how to help and then select foster.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. We want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our wonderful, talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. That's a screaming goat for those that don't know. Yeah, that's not Bridgette, but that's our screaming goat. We had Al on line 1, and we lost him, and it looks like Al's calling back. I think he had that's Trucker Al, I believe. Okay. So we'll wait and have Jacob see if that's him or not. But let's go over real quickly, Bridgette. Let's about Big Iron for next week.
Okay. All right. So Big Iron is going to run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. It's out at the West Fargo Fairgrounds. I'm pretty sure if you came out there anytime after 9 o'clock in the morning, all the exhibitors will be ready for you. There's going to also be a free concert on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. That's Rodney Adkins. That'll be in the grandstands. You are more than welcome to stay for that. And also, our group will be broadcasting this show live every day next week from 1 to 2 p.m. We will be in the Morton building. Additionally, we are going to have the crew from Twitter, the hashtag Tillage Tuesday guys, will be with us from 11 to 1 next week, Wednesday, in the Morton building. Stop and join us. Say hi. If you're on social media and you want to hang out with other social media folks, it'll be the place to be.
Can't wait. That should be a good time. A lot of people out there, too. Weather next week looks pretty good, too. So that's a bonus. So we do have Al back. Al's on line 1. Al, thanks for calling. What do you got for us today?
So I noticed over there in Sauk Center, Minnesota, they got hay auctions usually every Thursday, depending on the month. It's more so than others, but they do it pretty regular over there. So around
right.
Alexandria. Sorry?
Yep, there are some areas where they do some great auctions because those are folks that are intentionally raising hay that maybe they don't need for their own livestock. So, yeah, that's a great point that there are indeed hay auctions, just like there'd be any other farm equipment auction, but you're selling hay.
Yeah, the parking lot for Sauk Center, truckers in there, you could hold probably 400 trucks, and like I said, they do it like every Thursday, and it gets quite a few trucks in there, hay and straw and other commodities there too.
Yep, and you'll have folks that ask, what's your hay comprised of? Because maybe you have horses and you want something a little bit different, like with a sweet clover mix, et cetera, versus what someone would be buying for dairy cattle, right? So they all have the things that they like to eat, just like we do as humans.
Yeah, kind of like the bees. We move the bees around from one field to the next, depending on clover or sunflowers or whatever they want to eat. That's why your honey tastes a little bit different.
Absolutely, it does. And you are so right. The bees moving around, then they vacation for the winter down somewhere warm in the south. Maybe in my next life I'm a bee. Maybe I'll come back like that.
Oh, man.
You guys have a good day.
Thanks. Are you on the road, Al, or?
Yeah, coming back from Green Bay.
All right. Watch it. You might run into some severe weather there in parts of eastern parts of Minnesota. So heads up.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So Bridgette, let's go back to Big Iron a little bit. So let's say somebody that's never been there. What could they expect?
You, me, and Justin driving around on a golf cart.
That's dangerous right there, but
I'll drive. It's fine. I think first and foremost, are you kind of an equipment geek? Because there is pretty much anything that you wanted to look at, from air drills to some pretty new, exciting technology on planters. One of the things I'm hoping to see is a company that wants to bring forward a planter that, instead of just using a metal shank to open a furrow to plant the seed, they're using high-pressure water to cut that furrow, to get through heavy plant residues, or maybe some CRP ground or something, or cover crop. Also combines, right? You and I got a chance to stand next to one of the Kloss combines last year in the Butler building. And there's some livestock handling equipment. So for those of you who have cattle or horses, that's also a fit for you to stop. Trucks, because most farmers own semis. So there are trucks out there, truck repair folks that can visit with you. I think anything from the small tool gadgets in your shop all the way up to the large equipment and anything in between. It's pretty neat.
Gotcha.
What was your favorite thing? You were out there with us last year.
That was my first time out there. Just the equipment. I mean, and just the newer equipment that they have, and how it can impact and help our ag community. It's just I was kind of amazed by it, and the size of it too. man.
I was just going to say the size is really probably the thing that people are taken aback by the most.
Right.
Is just the sheer size of things.
Yeah. Now, is there going to be anything different this year opposed to previous years that you know of?
So it just so happens that I'm on the board for Big Iron, actually. I'm a board member just for that show. And some of the things that they're trying to do is introduce a little bit more of the construction equipment to it. And that's because a lot of farmers, when it comes to feeding their cattle or even moving snow, they've got payloaders, they've got backhoes. There's uses for that on the farm, so you'll see some of those things. One of the big hot spots is out with Acme Tools. And Acme Tools does a really good business there. They have show specials for you to come in, whether you want to buy more along the lines of DeWalt, Milwaukee, Ryobi, Makita, whatever, and you can swing in and make some deals with them. They're going to be over by the food court, which is sort of moved to the west side. I shouldn't say sort of. It's moved to the west side of the operation, but there's going to be more food booths scattered throughout. And whether the weather is cool, I mean, I've done everything from wearing a coat and gloves to wearing shorts out there because it can be super hot some days, and the weather should be fine going in and out of buildings.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of heat. Now, Acme, is that the same company that provided the anvil for the Coyote?
Right, for the Coyote on the Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think this is quite the same guys, but it's certainly the same name.
Just wanted to clarify that.
I mean, I always go see what's going on at Acme Tools because I'm always curious.
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's hit on a couple of ag topics. What would you like? Do you have any trivia? Are you going to throw any trivia my way, or do you want to just hit the ag topics here?
Well, hang on. I had a couple of things I wanted to ask you that are a bit more weather related.
Sure.
So we're into September, and some, I don't know if you want to call them fun facts, but things that are going on when it comes to flash floods, because apparently September is a month for more prevalence of flash floods. Would you say that's true, Dean, as a weather guy? Do you think that's the case?
Where? Is there a specific part of the country you're kind of...
Yeah, I'm curious, because so I have a deal here that shows me something different for every month. So July was about drought, and August was hurricanes, and September is flash floods. So I'm thinking, are there a lot of flash floods that happen in September, or is that a surprise?
Well, here's what you get. So September is peak hurricane season. So you're going to get flash flooding with that for sure, obviously. So, Gulf Coast, East Coast, yes, September's big for flooding when you get these hurricanes coming in. As you saw just this last weekend, I believe it was called Running Man, big outdoor.
Yes, in Nevada.
Oh, now, you're getting... Burning Man. Oh, Jacob said it was Burning Man. Burning Man.
Burning Man.
Thanks, Jacob. So there's always flash flooding, Arizona, Nevada, during August, sometimes into September, due to the monsoon season down there. So there's two parts of the country that really pop out, and one would be the desert Southwest, and the other one would be along the Gulf Coast and East Coast when during peak hurricane season here during the month of September. So,
okay,
interesting.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, so that was one thing that I noticed, and then there's some fun things that go along with that. So, I'm just going to ask you if you knew this one, but September 8th, 1900, the United States experienced its worst weather disaster in history, and that was the Galveston hurricane. 8,000 lives were lost. Is that a number that still stands, that 8,000?
I believe it is. Katrina that hit New Orleans, it wasn't that high. It wasn't that high.
Okay.
Now, if you would take that hurricane that hit Galveston back in 1900, because they weren't as prepared back then, keep in mind, as they are now. So if that same thing hit now, obviously there would be less lives lost, but the damage in terms of monetary figure would be way worse. I mean, absolutely way worse. So you kind of, that was September. What was that, September 8th? That hit Galveston?
September 8th, so we're coming up on that anniversary. Yeah,
right.
That's moving pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that caught me. Also, I made a note to myself as a reminder to say thank you. I was picking up some groceries on my way out of town the other day, and a gentleman stopped me in the Hornbachers parking lot and said, "Hey, love your show." So thanks to him. I hope he's listening. That was really nice.
Fantastic. Were you wearing WAG gear? How did he know?
He thought I was you.
Yeah. Well, you have way more hair and much younger looking. Much younger looking.
Okay, so here's something else that will take you by surprise, Dean. This wasn't even on our actual list of ag headlines today, but I thought you'd like it. There have been arrests made for approximately 45 thefts totaling over $9 million in loss. 3 Florida men have been sentenced for stealing semi-loads of frozen, wait for it, beef and pork from packing plants in Midwestern states, including the Dakotas. This has been going on for 2 years. 2 of the nearly 45 thefts included $100,000 in pork products stolen from a JBS plant in Ottumwa, Iowa. Wow. 3 semi-trailers loaded with beef from a JBS plant in Grand Island, Nebraska. And so, yes, the government utilized cell phone records and GPS tracking to identify and arrest the suspects who were involved. Wow.
And this has been going on for 2 years, and it took them 2 years to
that long to catch them.
Okay, I mean, you're probably selling it, obviously. You would think they'd be able to track that, but I mean, how do you get away with well, they didn't now, but stealing a semi full of frozen meat. That's wow.
Well, that's where the GPS trackers definitely come into play to find the truck. But if you can get somewhere and unload the beef and pork products off of it, those aren't going to be tracked. So if we're just talking like box beef, hanging sides, whatever it is, that's a lot of cows.
Who are you unloading that on? I mean, hey, we got a semi full of frozen. Who wants to buy this? I mean,
yeah, I can think of a couple of ways, but it would be fairly rude of me to mention them on air.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Man, it just brings a whole new meaning to hot beef, and it ain't talking the sandwich anymore, guys.
Right. Nice. Love it. All right, so we're coming up on break again. When we come back, we will hit a few more ag topics. We'll dive into what the rest of this week looks like weather-wise, and we'll take a more in-depth look at what the weather looks like for Big Iron next week. All that coming up in about 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Hey, North Fargo, are you looking for trustworthy car repair? Matthew Carlson here, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care, and we're excited to announce the opening of our new downtown Fargo location, conveniently located at 102 North University. We offer the same great service that you've come to know and expect with Fix It Forward Auto Care, now available in your neighborhood. Check us out online at fixitforwardautocare.com with 4 convenient locations. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. I like pizza and puppies. 2, cold hard info. The ERC is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refunds Network of Independent Tax Attorneys could help you claim it. 3, go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
You have all helped support MyPillow and their employees in these tough economic times. Mike Lindell knows and continues to give back to listeners with deals on the most popular products. You've heard me recently speak about the My Slippers, the Giza Sheets, MyPillow 2.0, and more.
Great news! The MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology that makes them extremely absorbent, yet still providing that soft feel that you like in a towel. Soft. The set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price $79.98 for a limited time. Get this 6-pack towel set only $39.99 with promo code WDAY. That's a 50% savings.
So go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-875-0644 and use the promo code WDAY to save 50% on the MyPillow 6-pack towel set. This deal will not last long. Again, enter promo code WDAY for this special and many more.
Hi, I'm Dana, mom of a happy, loving 4-year-old, thanks to Siriset. Before seeing Dr. Alla and the Siriset team, my son struggled with anxiety. He was withdrawn, had frequent meltdowns, and worried a lot. After completing my own sessions, I knew that Siriset could help my son. If you or someone you know is suffering with anxiety, I strongly encourage you to call Siriset today at 701-566-5231. Thank you, Siriset, for saving my family.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. We want to thank you for joining us. And it's 1:51. It's cloudy. It's misty. It's about 30 to 35 degrees colder today than it was yesterday. That's weather whiplash. I mean, from one extreme to the other. We did have record heat over the weekend across parts of the area, including here in the FM area. It was, I loved it. I mean, it was a beautiful, what a way to kick off or end summer, I guess you could say, on a hot note. On an absolute hot note.
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing today didn't happen over the weekend because there would have been a lot of mad people. And we've had some Labor Days like that. So thankfully we squeezed out a beautiful weekend. Now we're looking at drizzly conditions out there, temperatures in the 50s and 60s across the area. It's chilly when you factor in that north breeze. At about 20 to 30 and gusty. So this is jacket weather out there today for sure. And we're going to continue to see that drizzle throughout the evening hours. Storms are trying to develop now from, let's say on a line from DL down through Battle Lake and especially eastward. That's where more storms are going to be developing in the afternoon. And some of those could be on the strong side. I'm not worried about severe weather here in the FM area, but what I am kind of looking at here on radar right now is some rain out to the west. More of a steady light. That's a steady light rain from the Devil's Lake Basin down to just west of Jamestown. That's the upper level low moving eastward. So as we get towards evening, we'll start to see a little more in the way of scattered shower and thunder shower activity in the valley. Don't look for much. Again, not going to get a lot out of this. And then breezy and cooler weather for tomorrow. Smoke's going to be the big problem, not only today, but tomorrow. That smoke really gets thick in the FM area for Wednesday, and then that should back up to the west on Thursday and for the end of the week before it comes back into the area as we head into the upcoming weekend. We just can't shake this smoke for any extended period of time. Now, as we head throughout the week, we will warm up into the low 80s Friday and then tail it back off. Now, next week, early next week, Monday, maybe into Tuesday, but Monday, highs kind of cool again, upper 60s to lower 70s as we go into the middle part of next week, and especially for Big Iron. It looks nice. I don't see any chance of rain, and I see temperatures in the 70s and 80s. So not too shabby. Again, started next week a little on the cool side, but as we head into the latter part of next week, kind of like this week, we'll warm up a little bit each day. And no extreme heat, no really, really chilly weather, and it looks dry for Big Iron next week. So win-win.
So let's, as you talked about the weather and you mentioned, heavy smoke settling in, I was on the phone earlier today with a peer in the industry who was out in Montana headed to Three Forks, actually, and they were being warned in Montana that due to the heavy smoke, that turn on your headlights. It would treat it like a fog situation, because that is indeed what's going on out there. It's just become so thick. And I really feel for the folks in Canada. It's not like they have a way to go run out there and turn on the garden hose and put this thing down, right? So things are a little out of control for them. And yes, it affects all of us, but no doubt they're much greater in the thick of things than we are.
Right.
No doubt.
And it's going to take a lot of rain, in which now we're getting into the time of the season. Maybe, we get quite a bit of snow to help put that out as well, but it's nothing short term is going to fix it up there. And again, anytime we get our upper level winds out of the north or northwest, we're going to continue to see that smoke pour in here. So, don't see that changing again anytime soon. So if you're out and about, I know I was talking with West Fargo earlier today. They had a bus full of kids going out to Bismarck, and they were thinking about possibly canceling one of the sporting events out in Bismarck because it was so thick. The smoke was so thick out there. It's unhealthy.
Yeah. And honestly, this is just a great safety reminder overall. So two things I want to make sure we highlight. One is that as you are seeing those things going on out there, weather-wise, et cetera, make sure that you call us on the Red Wing Shoes hotline, 701-293-9000. Share with us what you see going on in your neck of the woods. But now also take into account the safety that goes along with us. Unfortunately, late last week, I know about a crop consultant who was injured in a car accident because someone ran a stop sign and ran into her vehicle. We still have a lot of corn in the fields. Corn is tall. If you come to an intersection where it's planted right to the field edge, you may need to make sure that you stop and then roll out and check before you take off in case there is a semi coming or a tractor. My dad always gave us the rule of who's bigger, right? If I was in the tractor, a semi was bigger than me. If I was in the semi, I would win. If I was in a car, the tractor would win. So you've got to make sure you understand what you're doing. Semis cannot stop on a dime, particularly when they're loaded. Let's not do 60 miles in front of them on a 65-mile-an-hour road, pull out right in front, and just take the time to remember that harvest will be over soon. Everybody be safe and keep an eye out for each other. That's important.
And be courteous. Be courteous to our ag community,
Yeah,
For sure.
I mean, unlike Dean, who comes in and just completely parks me in the parking lot and steals my pen.
I was talking more kind as in when you're behind the wheel, out and about, and don't.
That too.
They're busy. They're busy. They're busy harvesting, and they're probably tired. So, let's cut them some slack a little bit. We've got about a minute left here, Bridgette. What do you want to touch on?
So there is something unusual going on over in Stearns County, Minnesota, and this is called a rough potato. It is actually a vining milkweed that's been discovered over there. It is not native to this area. Actually, it's from Russia and or Asia, but it's been found. It's an invasive, fast-growing plant. It can smother other vegetation. We're seeing it in farmland, so it's pretty challenging. Also seeing it out in areas like along the Lake Wobegon Trail. And so we've got to keep an eye out for these things that are invasive species. They aren't meant to be here. And one of the reasons farmers want to eradicate it, it can draw away from their overall yield. That vine can also wrap around equipment when they're trying to harvest, making it a bigger problem than it needs to be. So that's one new thing in the area.
Now, why is it called potato? Why is it called rough potato?
The leaves look like potato leaves, even though it is a vine. It does not have any of the tuber that you would normally see associated with a potato plant. Maybe this is just also the German or the other language translations of that name when we brought it into English. But yes, it's called the rough potato.
Interesting.
Fun to find new things.
Yeah. Well, you're just a wealth of information all the time. You can learn so much on this show that some you might not want to know, and some, maybe you will. But that is going to do it for Bridgette and myself for Weather and Ag in Focus on this Tuesday. Yeah, it feels like a Monday. Again, a little drizzle, some showers for the rest of the afternoon into the evening hours. Make sure you got that umbrella handy with you if you are out and about. So for Bridgette, myself, I want to thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Embarrassed by ugly yellow toe fungus? Living with toe fungus it's embarrassing. I was afraid to take my